What's up, Limeheads? Welcome to another video interview here at Long Island Music and Entertainment. Today, my guest, someone I've known for quite a while. He's the director at WHPC 90.3, the voice of Nassau Community College, their radio station, Shawn Novatt, a.k.a. Puffy. What's up, Shawn? Thanks for joining us here at Long Island Music and Entertainment.
Hi, Todd. Happy to be here.
All right, so how are things going so far over at the station?
Well, I couldn't really tell you what's happening at the station because, for the last 4 or 5 months, we've been working from home. But it's been going very well. I have all of the students and volunteers doing their shows from home, which is great. We love the fact that we've been able to utilize technology and keep the radio station sounding fresh and new. I know a lot of other college stations have not been able to do that. So I take pride in the fact that even during this pandemic, we've been live and local and keeping the educational mission alive with the radio station. So thanks for asking.
Yeah, no problem. Now, you've been involved with Long Island Radio for a very long time. You started actually at Hofstra University. Tell us about your time at Hofstra and what you did over there.
I actually started even before Hofstra because my high school had a radio station.
Okay.
So I started at Plainview High School, had a radio station, and that's where I fell in love with radio. But then, yes, I went to Hofstra specifically for radio. I majored in audio radio and worked my way up through their radio station and was a 2-time station manager for 2 years in a row. And I still help them out, especially now that we're almost like sister radio stations. Nassau Community College, 5 minutes away from Hofstra. So we help them out. They help us out. It's been great that I've been able to keep that relationship going. Graduated 20 years ago now. Very
cool. All right. Now from Hofstra, you went on to commercial radio, and that's where, we became friends. That's how we met. Tell us your time with the commercial radio.
Sure. I held a whole bunch of different jobs. I've produced morning shows. I've been a production director, loading at commercials and promos. I've been a promotions director where the stations work on their contests and events and things like that. I worked in New York City at a talk radio station producing their morning show for a short period of time. I did websites for a long time, radio station websites, designing them. The very early part of radio station websites were just kind of look at our website and see what our DJs look like. And they weren't as sophisticated as they are now. And the technology actually got a little bit further ahead of me. So I'm actually kind of glad that that I was able to get back into the radio side of things and do less with the website aspect of it. And then now get into the teaching aspect, which kind of fell into my lap. Applied for the job, got it, very excited. I've always been interested in teaching. I've always been in charge of the internship programs of all the radio stations I worked at here at Long Island at different stops. So it was a perfect marriage of my love of teaching and radio. So I'm glad I was able to take what I've learned after about 15 years of commercial radio and bring it back to the educational radio here at Nassau Community College.
Nice. Now, through your years at commercial radio here on Long Island, you were given a very cool nickname, Puffy, as we all know you and call you at the beginning of this interview. I think that's the first time I ever addressed you by Shawn, so it's kind of weird for me not to call you Puffy. But tell us what Puffy's all about and who gave it to you and why you got the name Puffy.
Sure. Well, I got the name at my first radio stop. I was producing a morning show, a top 40 morning show here on Long Island. And they were looking for a cool name. All of their previous producers had silly nicknames, and that's what made them memorable for the on-air audience. At the time, Sean Puffy Combs was very big. And I'll lower the camera here so you can see I am a little puffy. And so it kind of stuck with the alliteration of Puffy the producer. Okay. And I can thank Steve Harper for that, who is now at some East End radio stations. But at the time, he was the host of the morning show that I was producing.
Very cool. Now, you said you got started with radio, all the way back in high school. What was it that made you decide in high school that you want to be in radio the rest of your life? Was it a certain band? Was it a certain show? What made you get into radio, like, right from the start?
That's a great question because I honestly don't know the answer to it. It's like a hobby that I fell in love with. I still remember I was in 9th grade. One of my friends, we were in the cafeteria. One of my friends came up to me and said, "Hey, dude, did you know there's a radio station in the basement here of the school?" I'm like, "A radio station?" And at first I was afraid to walk in because I didn't know what the hell a radio station looked like, or if you're just supposed to walk into one, or if the microphone would be on as soon as you opened the door. But it almost reminds me, what you're describing almost reminds me of the Saved by the Bell episode when they find out that the radio station is downstairs. Yeah. It was like hidden away. Now they've since moved it up to the first floor, but it was hidden away. And I walked in, I introduced myself, I learned a little bit about it. I got more and more involved, and I just fell in love with the whole aspect of being on the radio, talking into the microphone, knowing that people can hear my voice from miles away. And then when I went to Hofstra and learned more about turning it into a professional career, made me even more excited for it. So it really worked out well.
Nice. Now, with all your years being in Long Island radio, I want you to think about something. Who was your favorite guest or favorite story or moment in all your years so far in Long Island radio, whether it's high school, college, commercial radio? What's your favorite moment, story, guest that you've experienced?
I can tell you the one my least favorite. Can I start with that?
Yeah, sure.
My least favorite is early in my career, we went to interview Janet Jackson in the city.
Oh, wow.
And it was just me and my morning show host. So it was pretty cool. We got to meet Janet Jackson, but it was one hell of a learning experience because we brought one tape recorder with us, whatever the tape recorder technology was at the time. And long story short, the tape didn't record. When we got back to the radio station, there was no audio. And I thought I was going to be fired on the spot, but luckily somebody else, we happened to be recording it in a studio and somebody else was rolling tape. And I spent all night figuring out how to get that tape from Manhattan to Long Island because it was way before the internet was fast enough to be able to just send an MP3.
Right.
So that was my least favorite celebrity experience. I've had a lot of celebrity experiences.
I can imagine.
And interviews and guests. A couple of favorite ones come to mind. I mean, we had Vanessa Carlton in the studio, and she sang 1,000 Miles. We hooked up her piano right into the board, and watching her perform that live with her hands moving 1,000,000 miles a minute on the keyboard, that's something that sticks in my mind. It's really hard because I'm rarely the one that does the interviews, so it's hard for me to have that feeling. But there's been so many interviews that have been great. Learning how to be able to interact with, when you say have my people call your people, like I was the people for the morning show and I was calling the people for the celebrities, and I'm the one that's booking all the guests that were being on the show. And that was a learning experience. But there's been very few people that I can say that were rude or arrogant or, don't ask them about this, that. I can't even remember some of those. But I mean, the Vanessa Carlton one was definitely one of my first in-studio performances, so that sticks in my mind the most, I think.
Nice. Now, as we discussed earlier, you moved on, and currently you're the director at WHPC 90.3 FM. You guys call yourself the voice of Nassau Community College.
I got to get you to do the IDs. You say that so well.
Yeah, the official voice of Nassau Community College, the radio station. Tell us about the station. Tell us about, what shows we can expect when we tune in. Tell us about the DJs. I know a lot of them are students, but a lot of them aren't students as well. So tell us, who's on, what kind of shows and what kind of music, and, just tell us about the station.
Sure. Well, our radio station works very much like a television station in terms of the schedule. On Thursday night at 8 o'clock, you're going to get Friends. Well, Thursday night at 8 o'clock, you're going to get the same show every week on our radio station. So when you turn on, a top 40 radio station, you're going to get top 40 music. When you turn on a college radio station, especially one like 90.3, you get different shows at different times. So the students mainly do our top 40 show. We call it the Nassau Mix, which is 2K through today. So songs from 2000 that you may have forgotten, all the way up to new music that we're trying to break before the big guys do. And that's our biggest show that runs Monday to Friday from 9 to 3. But we have all sorts of other programs throughout the schedule. You can see it on the website at nccradio.org. We have a show dedicated to the Beatles. We have 2 Spanish programs. I have an Italian music program, a German music program, a polka. We have lots of educational, informational shows. We do sports talk. So there's been lots of sports talk about, 2020 and the lack of sports, or whether or not sports should even come back this year. There's been a lot of sports talk with students and volunteers talking, debating back and forth. But really, we have, at last count, somewhere around 65 different types of shows. Oh, and again, schedules on our website, but it works like a TV station. It's not like you're going to tune in and not know what you're going to get. Like if you're looking for Italian music, Thursday nights from 5 to 7, Rita Monti, who's a community volunteer who's been at the radio station over 25 years. She's going to be there, and she is broadcasting live from her house and loving it. Nice.
And also you also have a friend of ours that we have in mutual friend, Rick Eberly. Rick Eberly is a friend, of both of ours from the radio scene, and he's a friend and fan of Long Island Music and Entertainment. He has a show, Rick's Rising Stars. Tell us about that show and when we could tune in to listen to Rick.
Yes, Rick does host a show called Rising Stars, which is basically local artists, unsigned artists, mainly from the New York and Long Island area. And his show is on Monday nights at 9.
Very cool. Now, we were talking before the interview started that, personally, I'm a fan of the station, not because, I'm trying to look good for you, but I've been a fan of the station for a while. I'm actually alumni of Nassau Community College, and I love the station. I love when the students are the hosts because they just have a conversation. They just have a real conversation with each other, and it's just like, it seems natural. It flows. It doesn't seem like scripted. It's just, so, you could definitely spread the word to the student DJs that you have that I'm a fan of theirs. No matter what show it is, I tune in to, when I'm in my car, I tune into the student shows more than the non-student shows.
I appreciate you saying that because, obviously the student shows, there's a negative connotation. You're not listening to somebody that's professional, right? But we go through a full training program before students going to open up the microphone or touch any of the buttons in the studio or on the on-air computer. And they're going to learn what they're doing and going to sound as professional as possible. And sure, some sound more polished than others. I'm the first to admit that. Right. But nobody's going in there on their first day and I'm saying, okay, here's the microphone, go. Like you're going to hear them open the mic breaks and end the mic breaks professionally. You're going to hear them talk about things that are relevant to people that are listening to their target audience. That's what we're teaching. The station has an educational mission. So sure, it may not sound as polished as the big guys do, but it's not going to be, sandbox radio, let the kids play in the studio. That's not what we're doing at 90.3. Right.
I mean, everyone's doing a good job. So, definitely let them know that Long Island Music and Entertainment, big fan of theirs.
And us, you as well.
So, 90.3 FM is the radio station. Now, Shawn Novatt, you're in the limelight. So please go ahead and plug where we can find more information about the station. Go ahead.
I'm looking for the limelight.
Yeah.
No, you can find us at nccradio.org. We stream on the iHeartRadio app, on the TuneIn Radio app. You can ask your smart speakers, Alexa, play WHPC. Mm-hmm. She's probably going to hear me now and do that. And find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Just search 903 WHPC.
Awesome. And before I let you go, just want to ask you three questions, non-radio station related. Because we are a Long Island website, so we just want to get your feelings and thoughts about some things Long Island. So you ready?
I am ready.
I know you're a family man. You're married with 2 kids. What's the favorite thing to do with you and the family? When you're all together, one big happy Novatt family, what do you guys like to do?
Well, I would love to say that we'd love to go outside and go places, but we can't do that in this pandemic world. In a normal environment, we would like to go to the mall, go shopping, go play at the video game arcades, or we just sit at home and watch TV a lot, which unfortunately my wife doesn't like that. We'd rather go out and play outside, but my kids are stuck to the TV.
Okay. Now, your favorite thing to do here on Long Island, I mean, did you already answer that, or do you have something else?
It's
like when you have time to yourself.
Yeah.
What do you like to do, or where do you like to go?
I definitely like just going to like the malls and walking around and people watching and eating Chick-fil-A. That's my favorite thing to do.
All right. Now, one final question, then we'll let you go. If you could hang out with any music celebrity, whether it's behind the scenes, an actual artist, living or not, anyone in the music world, who would that be?
It's definitely been somebody I met, but would love to have more than just a 5-minute or 5-second meet and greet with. Weird Al Yankovic. Oh. I'm a big Weird Al fan. I met him at NYC Theater at Westbury once. I got his autograph, but I would definitely love to pick his brain and see how the hell that brain works.
Okay, awesome. All right, that's all the questions we have. Thank you so much. This was a great interview. And once again, we have Shawn Novatt, Director at WHPC 90.3 FM, the voice of Nassau Community College. And thank you for taking your time out.
No problem. Thank you, Todd.